So, this is a book I dedicate to all of my nieces and nephews, and it's titled Oklahoma, written by Tamara Orr. And let's get started. My United States, Oklahoma. Welcome to Oklahoma. Find the truth. Everything you're about to read is true, except for one of the sentences on this page. Which one is true? Key facts. Capital. Oklahoma City is estimated at 3,923,000 people. The nickname for Oklahoma is Sooner State, and one of the biggest cities is Tulsa, Oklahoma, near Norman. True or false? Powerful dust storms forced many Oklahoma farmers to leave the state in the 1930s. True or false? Oklahoma's state government is divided into 4 branches. Find the answers in this book. Contents: lands and wildlife, government, history, and culture. This is Oklahoma. So we have here Colorado up above and Kansas and Texas below. Route 66 was one of the country's first highways, over 400 miles. Driving down the highway, visitors can see a wild mix of authentic diners, bright neon signs, arts, and museums, among other attractions. Oklahoma City Zoo. This is one of the biggest zoos. It offers visitors a chance to experience everything from African plains to tropical jungles. Guests can touch stingrays and red pandas and much more. The lay of the land. Oklahoma's Panhandle area is full of flat grasslands, while the middle parts of the state is made up mostly of fertile soil, crops, cotton, and wheat. The sandstone hills in east central Oklahoma feature thick forests. Farmers use the land to grow corn, fruit, and soybeans. Mountains in the south are where cattle roam, while the Wichita Mountains in the southwest feature jagged granite peaks. This map shows where the highest and the lower areas are in Oklahoma. Glass mountains. Imagine what would happen if rolling mountains were covered in glass. They are covered in gypsum, a whitish-yellow mineral that often turns into transparent crystals. Oklahoma wind. Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plains. And the waving wheat can sure smell sweet when the wind comes right behind the rain. These song lyrics sum up Oklahoma's weather perfectly. The state is known for its wind. Sometimes the wind brings a welcome breeze to hot, dry summers. Other times it can transform into many thunderstorms or even tornadoes. In the winter, wind brings a sharp chill to the air. Sometimes it can even bring a blizzard. A land of trees. Oklahoma is the perfect place to see a huge variety of trees. They're all growing in the same place. It has more than 130 different types, including familiar ones such as pine, maple, oak, and less common species include the sweet gum, pecan, dogwood, and even redbud. Cypress trees grow tall in Oklahoma, and waterways are lined by willow, cedar, and hackberry trees. Indian blanket by willow cedars. The state wildflower grows in pastures next to colorful sunflowers. An abundance of wildlife. With its thick forests and open plains, Oklahoma is a perfect place for animals to live. Forests harbor deer, foxes, raccoons, and squirrels. The plains are home to herds of grazing cattle as well as armadillo and coyotes. Hawks and owls patrol the skies looking for a tasty meal. Lakes and rivers have ducks and geese, while the air is filled with songs of meadowlarks, warblers, and blackbirds. Hundreds of years ago, one of the most common animals to roam Oklahoma's plain were the bison. People had simply hunted too many of them to keep the species from going extinct. People began working to protect bison. The first wildlife preserve for bison was established in 1907. Thanks to this and other organizations, there are about 350,000 bison in the U.S. today. Government. Before Oklahoma became a state, its capital was a town called Guthrie. But by 1907, when Oklahoma gained statehood, Oklahoma City had grown to become the center of a business culture, and many of the city's residents believed that it should become the new state's capital. Oklahoma's people voted on the issue, and the state government officially moved to Oklahoma City in 1917. It has been centered there ever since. 3 branches. Oklahoma's government is divided into 3 branches: legislative, executive, and judicial. It is made up of a Senate, House of Representatives, and laws are carried out by the executive branch. The judicial branch enforces the laws, and the branch consists of a system of courts and is led by the state Supreme Court. What represents Oklahoma? States choose specific animals, plants, and objects represented, the values and characteristics of the land. Find out why these symbols were chosen to represent Oklahoma. Discover the surprising curiosities about them. So here we have the seal, and notice the Oklahoma State seal features a 5-pointed star. Each point represents a major Native American group. The 5 groups there are Cherokee, Chickasaw, Choctaw, Creek, which that's what I am, and the Seminole. Oklahoma flag. The Oklahoma flag was adopted in April of 1925. It features many symbols of the state's Native American heritage. The flag's background is the same shade as the flag that Choctaw soldiers carried during the Civil War, 1861. A buffalo skin Osage shield is in the middle, with eagle feathers hanging. The pipe and olive branch are symbols of peace. This here is the scissor-tailed flycatcher state bird. Mistletoe is their emblem. The redbud state tree with pink flowers is common sight across the state. And the honeybee is the state insect. The state beverage is milk, and buffalo is the state animal. When spring comes to Oklahoma, the scent of wild onions fills the air. Many of the area's Native Americans, for them, this early green plant means it's time to honor the past. Traditionally, the onions are picked, cleaned, chopped, and boiled, and then served. The meal is offered at local churches and communities. The first Oklahomans. Oklahoma has been home to Native American peoples such as the Caddo, the Ute, the Kiowa, for about 10,000 years. Spanish explorers came to the area in the 1500s. By the 1700s, France and Spain were battling over who would control the land. Oklahoma finally became part of the U.S. when President Jefferson bought it from France as a piece of the Louisiana Purchase. A national tragedy. Today, a national memorial and a museum for Oklahoma City honors victims of this bombing here that happened. Cherokee Chief Wilma Mankiller. She was born in Oklahoma. Her life changed dramatically when she was in an accident. 2 years later, she became the first woman to become tribal chief. Oklahomans love to cheer on the Oklahoma City Thunder basketball teams. Oklahoma's college teams are also a major draw for sports fans. The University of Oklahoma Sooners, Cowboys and Cowgirls, and the University of Tulsa. Time to celebrate. It's almost impossible to find a weekend without a big celebration somewhere in Oklahoma. Rodeos are held all summer in multiple cities. The 101 Wild West Rodeo in Ponca City has been going on for more than 50 years. It features steer roping, bareback riding, and barrel racing. In Oklahoma City, the people catch the Jazz Fest. Grab a plate. When it comes to food, Oklahoma's